All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another exciting week of Osborne Motors Endurance Challenge. I'm Fennicini, once again back in the booth with you for another week of endurance racing action. We are at, while you won't be able to see much of it, at least initially, we are at Suzuka International Circuit for our third endurance round of the season, week number 6. And our third endurance week. I already said that. GT3 Pro-Am split as per usual, and I did, I think, very little prep work like I usually try to do, so bear with me one brief moment while I make sure all of our drivers are in the session that should be, and we don't have anybody here that shouldn't already be here. So, last time we went out, we had a doubleheader at the Nürburgring Grand Prix as well as Hockenheimring, two fantastically fun German tracks, probably the best way to put that. These drivers now jump across a few different ways. I'd say maybe a pond, but not really. Do cross a little bit of a sea, however, to get to the island of Japan, and therefore Suzuka International Racing Circuit. Qualifying well and truly underway. Got about 9 minutes left. Kind of giving you a little bit of a static onboard. Let's take a ride along. Who's around? Oh, let's take a ride along with Tony Caicedo. Haven't been with him in a while. Tony, you know what? I'm going to just really give Tony the true OMEC experience. Tony Caicedo.
Hang on. I'm on a heater right now. Only a tenth below.
All right.
Trying to see if I can make this a little better. Just give me 1 second. If you want to ride along.
I was going to wait until you got to the beginning of the lap, but yes. I'll let you clean up your heater. Hard to tell where anybody is on this track, so
see if I can make anything out of this. I'll take what is an apex for 500. Somehow I'm green.
I mean,
someone's calling me.
Oh, nice.
Can't talk right now.
You got to busy drift your way through 300.
Hey, Fen, flat or not flat?
Flat.
Flat or not flat?
Flat. Send it.
Flat.
Go hard.
Not flat. Had to do a baby lift. We're good.
Coward. No, I'm kidding. All right. We're going to get into the true OMEC experience. Do you have a feel for another lap?
Yeah, I do. I've got 6 laps right now.
Walk us through a lap here at Suzuka.
All right, you're going to do a late brake here. Barely on the brakes. Just like 10% maybe coming in. Second gear. Power on out of here. All the way to the right. Don't even shift to fourth. Keep it in third. Tap the brake maybe. Just come in. Kiss the curb. Come in. Kiss the curb. Don't go all the way to the left. Come over the way to the right. Tap the brake. Kiss the curb. Come on in. Stay wide a little bit. Not even touching any pedals. Come on in. Same thing here, wide a little bit, and we're going to floor it out of here, come right up on up the hill, and I'm down by almost a tenth. This is a disaster.
You'll be all right.
Late brake here, fourth gear, fly over that, and that's an off track right there, so now we're going to keep going and act like nothing happened, and we almost lose the car there, as you can see. We're making it right, so we make a pretty good time right now, only about 3/10 off optimal. Going to understeer there. It's pretty technical.
Pretty classic Porsche move.
Yeah, gonna burn up the tires coming out of that because we don't know throttle control. We're gonna come through here. Not really sure where we're going because it's so dark out. Gonna brake at the service road here on the right. Point a straight line to the apex. Third gear, come in, track out wide. Almost lose the car. Brake a little bit. Second gear. Don't know where the apex is. Almost lose the rear end. Try and power out, but you have no idea where you're going, and you're still down by 2/10. How are we doing so far?
Oh, pretty good. I think you're doing great. It's a good explanation of the lap.
Yeah. And then we're going to try and go flat out again because we don't learn anything, and that's how you lose the car and kill the lap. Just kidding. Just kidding. Car saved. That was just a good little drift there. We're going to keep going. We're going to make a right hand here. I jump the curves because I'm a plebeian. Porsche doesn't like that. Get a power on out, and that's a lap at Suzuka, Fen.
Drift included.
Only 2.7 seconds off. Being green, but you know.
It was a throwaway lap to begin with. So, all right, I'll let you get back to qualifying.
It was a cool down lap, you know.
Good stuff. So, all right, leave you back to it. Go talk about more about the lap and
Thanks,
stuff.
sir.
enjoy. I'm sure I'll grab
Thank
you all
you,
at some
sir.
point. Bah. All right. So that's a lap, more or less, of the fantastic Suzuka circuit. Leslie Woods still also on a flyer, trying to get a little bit of better time in there, though pretty solid, all things considered. 21 drivers here this evening for Suzuka. Interesting. Once again, I think we got the 8X Sun, so at the end of the evening, we may or may not see a sunrise to end off the evening. I get the answer. I think will be no, but it's possible. We're already in the middle of the night for qualifying, so it's very, very, not probable, but possible that we run into the sunlight by the end of an hour and a half of racing. So a fun night race to keep up with everything here. So Leslie Woods trying to find a better time there. Isn't finding one yet. Nicholas Maynard likewise does, however, improve overall. A couple of those sectors that were better was enough to dethrone Nick Terrell by a 1/10 and a half from a 156.94 to Nick Terrell's 157.07 as Nick Terrell is trying to find 2/10 to Brody Wallace, who is currently sitting at the top of the timing tower as it stands. Danger Goose, indeed, Danger Goose. Tom Leeson currently sitting on 158.83 for his qualifying time. And big moment there. See if it's enough to get that 81 further up the order. Speaking of Nick Terrell, Nate Sides also looking to improve his time. Currently in 8th. A very, I would say, fun but tight field tonight. We'll see these drivers work their way up the order. And that is not a better time for Nick Terrell. Tim Schaefer, fastest Sector 1 for the driver there. But he's down a host of time elsewhere. So good first sector, but a slower rest of the lap means that is going to be a slower lap time. Just under 2 minutes here. Going to be those flying laps. And it fluctuates up to just a little bit over 2 minutes for some of our slower drivers in the AM category. Matt Markley getting in down into the 2 minutes flat last time by. See if he has more of it in. I would say more of a faster time this time by, but he ends up accidentally going into pit lane. I don't think he meant to, but he'll take the tow probably from there to restart. Or at least will come into box, put on some fresh tires, and go back out again. Leslie Woods still working on a lap time. Eli Vergara also working on a lap time. Tony Caicedo working up the order, getting a better lap time this last time by, now that he's no longer being bothered with getting trying to explain what a lap looks like here in Suzuka. It's a pretty fun one. I love Suzuka's race circuit. It's going to be pretty hard to explain where everybody's at, what everybody's doing, given how the dark nature of this track because of the way this race this week is going. So with just under, I believe, 5 minutes. No, sorry, 1 minute left. I can read. Just under a minute left for drivers to get their final laps in. We'll take a look at who's left out on track. We have Leslie Woods, Nate Sides, Tony Caicedo, DJ McAteer, as well as Eli Vergara, and Nick Terrell. Nate Sides needs to find time here. Hasn't been able to do so. These lap times look quite silly because they are being accelerated by the 8x time of the sun. That is not, in fact, the actual time that they'll set. Green, second to final sector. And Tony Caicedo burns it down in the hairpin. That's going to end his run, not intentionally. And Nate Sides finds no better pace, it looks like. Oh, yeah, sorry, a little bit better pace. Jumping into 6th himself and dethroning Tony Caicedo, as well as Kevin Hayes for that position. Wesley Woods, Eli Vergara, or Wesley Woods getting another lap time in as well, but it was, I think, no better than a previous attempt. Eli Vergara going to be the next, I think, to come back with that lap, getting through 300R, same as the rest of them. A little bit of a lift for those drivers. It's a bit of a fun place to be. Nicholas Maynard, you're not on pole this week.
I am not, no.
How does it feel?
I don't know. It's kind of frustrating, honestly. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
Fair enough.
Hey, yeah, I have, what is it now? Maybe 10 laps of practice in, so got to uses.
Well, thoughts, keys to winning the race tonight.
Keys to winning the race, I'm gonna say, as long as just don't crash.
The Bathurst special.
Kind of, exactly. Yeah, don't crash. Hold on. It's a long race tonight, 90 minutes. Just keep it solid. Don't kill myself in the first 2 laps, and just ride behind Brody and enjoy the show.
Fantastic stuff. All right. Well, we'll leave you to it, I suppose. I say we, like I have anybody else in the booth with me tonight.
Got some friends in here I don't know about?
Nope. It's just me. That's all.
Well, if you get bored and lonely, just grab me anytime.
I will pull you back in when the time comes. I'll probably pull you in at an impromptu moment, like right when you're about to go make a pass. Really pull them out. Marcus Osborne special. I'm not sure you're here for that. Used to be a thing that Marcus did all the time. So
hey, you got to keep people on their toes.
Exactly. Right? So maybe we'll employ some, really honor Marcus by just doing the most random shit. I think it's what he would want. Anyway, I'll let you to it.
Down for it.
Talk through the grid results here, and then we'll get ourselves underway. Good luck.
Awesome.
See you in a bit.
Thank you. See you.
All right, Nicholas Maynard. Jeez, English. I am good at it. Nicholas Maynard, not on pole for once. Brody Wallace is going to be the driver to beat tonight in that 007 Mustang. But alongside him, Nicholas Maynard, the driver we were just talking with. Nick Terrell is going to be in P3 alongside Luke Plaisance. A fantastic run from him, but kind of a bit of a big gap from those front 3 drivers to Luke Plaisance and the rest of the GT3 Pro field. Jason Larson is going to be alongside Nate Sides for row number 3. Tony Caicedo finding his way into 7th alongside Kevin Hayes in 8th. Patrick Cantrell, as well as Tyler Roberts, going to be in 9th and 10th. Those Project Zoomies drivers together on that row of the grid. Tom Leeson going to be leading off GT3 AM in 11th overall. Joe Evers going to be right beside him in 12th. As I hit buttons to maybe do the thing. Jumping on down after the 12th. 13th is going to be Tim Schaefer. 14th is going to be Zachary Holden. Matt Markley is going to be in 15th. Hayden Mamanga, Luke Penley, Wesley Woods are going to be the P15 through 18, and then Eli Vergara, DJ McAteer, and Ken Duvall are going to round out the 21-car grid. I don't think I've actually seen Ken Duvall driving tonight. I think he might be in... We'll see. See that he's joined, but I haven't seen him actually pop into the session to drive yet. But, not saying it isn't impossible. As we get set to go racing here. Oh, no. That looks real. All right. Really kill it here. Pace car is going to lead off these drivers. We have 21 of them on the grid. Blimp Cam will show you all those cars. They work their way through Spoon Curve. A fantastic double apex wide, Titans opens Titans, to use some rally terms because it's just an easy way to explain it, as these drivers get their way through the backstretch and into 300R. Suzuka with a bit of a storied history throughout its tenure. Getting set to go racing. 90 minutes of action in store for you. Brody Wallace going to be leading off all of those drivers. The likes of Nick Terrell and the rest of them working their way through. Additionally, back through the final chicane. I remember, I think Marcus Osborne at one point said it looked like a Dorito, which I can't disagree with. Pace car is going to peel in. Brody Wallace is going to wait for that green flag to drop. Nicholas Maynard going to be right alongside him, waiting for that opportunity. Nick Terrell going to have to try to see where he can fit alongside these two drivers. Green flag should be coming out any second now. You're going to see the red lights turn on for us. That's when the green flag will drop for them. It's a long stretch, but he finally gets on the loud pedal as that green flag flies. All four of those drivers in the top four getting a great launch here. You're going to see them drip past underneath the blimp, which is firmly in the air today. Luke Plaisance looking for the outside line. Luke is with Nicholas Maynard. It's going to be too wide throughout turns 1 and 2 here. I need this track map up so I can know exactly where we're on this track. It's a pretty technical one and one that's pretty easy to find out where you are in the middle of the daylight. But when you are in the nighttime driving, pretty hard to see sometimes with everything going on into the S's, I think is the way I was trying to say that the first time. Brody Wallace leading the charge. Nick Terrell going to be right behind Nicholas Maynard still for P2 and P3. Luke Plaisance rounding out the top 4 with the rest of the field pretty much as they were. Nate Sides getting a position on Jason Larson early on. Same with Kevin Hayes over Tony Caicedo. And then Tyler Roberts is going to pass. Tyler Roberts and Tom Leeson going to pass Patrick Cantrell for 9th and 10th. On board, as we get into the hairpin, a fast, not a fast hairpin, but a big moment to get on the brakes and get a feel for what it's like inside these cars. It's fun to drive at night. One of my favorite types of driving is those nighttime stints in endurance racing. So I love this as a driver. But as someone who has to commentate it, it's a little bit harder to see. Not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying usually it's a lot more fun to see what cars are where when you have lights on them. And thankfully, the lights of other drivers are going to help illuminate this track this evening for the hour and a half of racing. 20 of the 21 drivers still working their way around. Very clean start, thankfully. I say that now. It may change here momentarily. Nate Sides really applying the pressure on Luke Plaisance. Tony Caicedo and Kevin Hayes going to run too wide. Jason Larson and Tony Caicedo going to run too wide. Kevin Hayes is up the road there. I know my McLarens from my Corvettes, and that is exactly that. But there's a whole train of cars behind Jason Larson as Tony Caicedo makes the look down the inside. He's going to have the overspeed to kind of put himself alongside, but can he break it and slow that car down enough to complete the pass and defend the position before the S's? Jason Larson's going to have to push him out wide, and now he's going to try to see if he can slot back in ahead of Tyler Roberts or continue the fight to go too wide, which will just slow this entire train of cars down. And Jason Larson finally gets the job done. But Tony Caicedo really looking for the position here. Most of the top 4 work themselves out to about 9/10 of a gap. Tony Caicedo going to lean on the inside. Jason Larson runs a little bit wide, but the outside becomes the inside. And Jason Larson finally gives it up, but Tony Caicedo pushes out really wide, comes back onto the track, keeps that car moving the right direction. Let's see if I got a good... That's the hood. There's a shot I'm looking for. You can see the car, the whole train of cars behind him. Jason Larson leaning on the inside of that machine as they now go too wide. No good way to see where they're at because they're side by side still as they work down. I would say what is technically not the back stretch, but where it is actually. I have to go pull out my track map because it's been a little while since I've been to Suzuka, and I only have so many brain cells to keep all of the stuff together in one place. Dunlop curve. Not Dunlop curve. Turn 12. Tell me the name of that. Then we have the back stretch before 300R, as it's now named. Taking a look here. What else we have happening on track tonight. Action developing elsewhere as well as Tony Caicedo. These two still going at it for this position. P7 overall. And Tyler Roberts in the background of this, working his way up, trying to see if he can make it 3 wide down this start-finish stretch. I think he's going to tuck in behind Jason Larson and hang out there for a minute. Oh, that's going to be a tip. I think Jason Larson keeps it out of the wall. It's going to have to back that car up, though. Loses out on 7th as a result of that impact. I want to take a quick look back. I want to see if there is, in fact... Yeah, there's a little bit of a touch there. Take a look at it one more time. Tony Caicedo, roll bar. It's already developing as that happens. Yeah, there you go. 3 different ways to look at it the same way. But Brody Wallace still leading the charge. Loses the fastest lap to Nicholas Maynard by about 0.5, which is what could bring those guys back into about half a second of each other. Nick Terrell about 2 seconds behind these two on an island almost, about a second ahead of Luke Plaisance, who's still working with Nate Sides for P4 and P5. Kevin Hayes trying to close the distance, still has a bit of a gap now. Tony Caicedo now on an island of his own as Tyler Roberts had to serve a slowdown penalty. See what happened there. I want to take a look. Looks like, I believe we had an off in, I want to say this is Degner's 1 and 2. Yeah, Degner curve, and then that's where that slowdown gets applied as well, or when it takes that slowdown to not cause issues. Nicholas Maynard going to lose a little bit of time here, back to over a second, as these drivers still work their way around Suzuka. And Brody Wallace taking, I would say, the esports line to cut that track really close. We've seen a few drivers do it over the course of both real life now as well as iRacing. Top drivers all separated by a few seconds now. I say a few. Between all of them, a few seconds. About a couple seconds apiece between each driver. Patrick Cantrell, Tom Leeson. Tom Leeson, Patrick Cantrell. Tom Leeson really wide there, causing Patrick Cantrell. Jeez, let me just smash that into one name. Patrick Cantrell working his way through, gets past Tom Leeson. Tyler Roberts, his teammate, or Patrick Cantrell's teammate, trying to get past Tom Leeson as well. Matt Markley in the background of all this, trying to see where he can continue to move up the order. And Joe Evers holding on to the starting position and having a stalwart endeavor to do so. Luke Penley behind as well. Rest of this grid still tightly packed together in various spots. A couple of battles up at the top kind of pairing off with each other to keep themselves moving in the right direction. Oh, slow run through the hairpin for Tom Leeson as all these drivers work their way through. Let's do another on board. Matt Markley coming into Spoon Curve. I'm riding along with a bunch of McLarens today. It's a fun time. So a lot of mid-engine cars here in the middle of the pack. You kind of see, he had a fantastic look there, but had to slow down just a little bit to not run into Tyler Roberts right in front of him. 2:10 separating Matt Markley and Tyler Roberts as they get down the back stretch. And I want to say a heck of a good run here. DJ McAteer labeled as off track. Len labeled as crash. We'll take a look at it here in a brief moment. Heck of a look. Good hands, stable hands. Keeps that car from spinning out. Definitely looked like it was planning to for a moment there. Slower run through the hairpin. Going to cost him a little bit of time. Only 0.2 the difference between Brody Wallace and Nicholas Maynard up at the front. But that 3-second gap now closed, 2-second gap between those drivers closed back down to just a few tenths as Brody Wallace is starting to feel the pressure of Nicholas Maynard behind in that 77 Lamborghini, but hasn't cracked yet. 3 seconds between these two drivers and Nick Terrell, who's behind him, and a heck of a lot more time between him and some other drivers behind them. Battles still remain middle of the pack as well as a little bit further back. Tim Schaefer trying to find his way around Luke Penley Speaking of, and as well as Zachary Holden, Jaden Mamenga, or Hayden Mamenga. Well, I said Jaden because I have a friend named Jaden over in the Saturday League, which I talk about a lot. So, forgive me. And DJ McAteer going off track. We saw this. I talked about it very briefly when it came on the thing. Came on the event tracker. That is the word I want to use. And keeps it out of harm's way. Just had an issue there. Tyler Roberts, however, going to be still sideways. Yeah, just has just the most awkward spot to be in the hairpin. Try not to run into individuals. Let's see what happened to Tyler Roberts here. Goes in the hairpin behind Tom Leeson, trying to get the move done. Matt Markley trying not to hit him either. Both these drivers going wide. Then Tyler Roberts just getting a little sideways. And then the car kicking out from under him. Tom Leeson now under fire from Matt Markley, who saw the gap, closed the gap, and now is looking to bring the attack. Presses it on the inside of the chicane. Tom Leeson says, I'll humor it, I suppose. Brody Wallace, however, still under pressure from Nicholas Maynard. 3 seconds the better there. Zachary Holden, Hayden Mamenga gonna get into a scuffle here. Wesley Woods also involved. Let's see what happened with these three drivers coming out of 300R into the chicane here in just a moment. We'll see Zachary Holden also enter pit lane after this. See if it's a self spin. It is a self spin on Wesley Woods. Crunch there as Hayden Mamenga backs into that driver. And this car is missing its lights. And I think that's probably why Zachary Holden came down, get a fast repair, taken care of, get back out on track. I think will be the plan there. You see the lights pop back on as it lights and illuminates part of this. Joe Evers, going to be another one to drive off track. He thankfully is able to get it back on track. Wesley Woods, however, is going to jump to pits. Was this in conjunction with what happened to Joe Evers? I don't think so. This is Wesley Woods just coming over to a stop. I think it was because of the incident earlier in the slide there. I'll have to take a look when we get it. But those two incidents really spreading out the field between Tyler Roberts as well as the incident with Wesley Woods, Zachary Holden, and Hayden Mamenga. About a second between most drivers on track at this point. It's a game of numbers at this point, which means we get to kind of dive into some of the more fun parts of racing. The strategy game. Not to say there isn't still battles on track, as Luke Penley, Tim Schaefer still in a look for position here. Aston Martin GT3, undervalued, super fun. Eli Vergara going to join those with off-track incidents. Take a look here in a second. I'm kind of riding along with Tim Schaefer for the moment. Get a feel what it's like to be in the dark as we go through the night at Suzuka. It'd be fun to do, I think, a 24-hour here. I think for an accelerated 24-hour. I don't think an actual 24-hour would be fun here. But to do something similar, kind of like we're doing here, maybe if we extend it to like 2 hours and go, midday to the morning after with 8X sun. Oh, big look there. Still gets a little bit off track, but keeps that car going the right direction. We'll see him working it through it. Tom Leeson slowly sliding, well, not really backwards, but coming back into, I think, a fight with drivers here. This battle, these three cars, I think, are all, and I would say, I think I can tell you for certain, all three of these drivers in a battle with each other. Luke Penley, Tim Schaefer, as well as Tom Leeson, all three fighting for position in class for the top three spots of the GT3M podium. Tom Leeson still holding on to it by about a second to Luke Penley. Luke Penley kind of ebbing and flowing with Tim Schaefer for the other two steps on that podium. Meanwhile, riding along with that GT3 Nicholas Maynard diving in, continuing to try to keep up the pace, keep up the pressure. You've seen these drivers past couple laps setting about similar lap times, 4/10 the difference between these two, and these two pulling a 5-second gap to Nick Terrell and Luc Plaisance, the rest of the field behind them. And that's going to see these drivers continue to work their way through. Luke Penley setting the fastest lap of GT3 AM this most recent time by, closing down that gap to the 3:31 of Tommy Leeson. You can start to see the field spreading out. A lot of these drivers and the various paces they have working their way through. Jason Larson labeled as crashed amongst all this. And he's going to jump to pit lane. We'll take a look at that here. We'll take a look at what happened to Eli Vergara as well. Vergara. Oh, didn't lift enough or lifted too much. This is going to be into the hairpin, the chicane at the end of the lap, I believe. Yeah, just takes the runoff and then cuts through into the gravel, comes back on track. Thankfully, no harm, no foul, just slowed down a little bit and gets the car going again. I think he has to serve a slowdown penalty, which is where that comes from. Jason Larson, however, labeled as crashed for this incident here. Turn number 1, had the issue earlier with the contact, overcooks it. That is going to be way too fast in that corner. Slides out into the back and then just clobbers the rear end there. And then that gets towed to pit lane to stop any sort of issue or not be involved in any kind of issue. Come through on 300R into the chicane once more. You see these drivers diving back onto the brakes. Still 4/10 between Brody Wallace and Nicholas Maynard after 15 minutes of our hour-and-a-half endurance race. Tim Schaefer, Luke Penley, Tom Leeson. This battle for the GT3 AM podium is still going strong. Let's see if I can ride along one of these drivers. That's not really what I want. That's better. You can at least see the other drivers. You see them all jockeying for position. Tom Leeson, the head of this field. Luke Penley right alongside him. I'm a tale of two cities right now. I have two wolves. One is Marcus Osborne saying, pull in Tom Leeson because he's in party chat. And then the Fettuccini of these two wolves is going, but let him drive. If he then wrecks it, then you can pull him in. So you're going to get a little inside knowledge into the mindset of Fen when he's left alone to do his own broadcasts for a moment there. But meanwhile, this battle still raging. Has not gone anywhere, won't go anywhere, I think, anytime soon, especially because Tom Leeson running just a couple of tenths slower than Luke Penley, and that's going to cost him a little bit of time, though. He goes a little bit wide, did not run into Tom Leeson, and then Tim Schaefer says, I will absolutely take that spot, thank you. He's going to look for that over-under as they get back into Degner's 1 and 2 here in just a moment's time. Fast is through there. Luke Penley defending second, 2/10 quicker, but that has opened up that gap to P1 again with Tim Schaefer looking for that opportunity. Tyler Roberts coming on and off track the past few minutes, and Tim Schaefer and Luke Penley going to continue to duke it out. Tim Schaefer inside line, slower, but unable to recover it. Okay, he's still there. Good. I was really worried that we were about to lose one of our drivers to internet shenanigans. A couple other battles firing up. Tony Caicedo slowly catching. Kevin Hayes as they come back down to 300R. Half a second between those two drivers. Going to be big commitment out of Tony Caicedo. He's drifted it once here. He can drift it again, which will cost him more time than it will save him. But he can save it should he have issues. Nicholas Maynard getting the fastest lap this most recent time by. Tony Caicedo collecting off tracks like their candy. I get the feeling he very may well end up with a black flag penalty, which will ruin his race and evening. These two drivers on the hunt for GT3 Pro P6 as well as overall P6. Rest of the field kind of spread out again, with the exception of our GT3 AM podium. We've talked about it a couple times. I've never looked at it too seriously. Let's see what the gap looks like between the leaders and the respective classes. You can see how big that gap is. Tim Schaefer, I think, going to be on another hunt, but he backs out. All three under half a second of each other. Just 2/10 between Luke Penley and Tom Leeson, and another 10th.5 between Luke Penley and Tim Schaefer. Kevin Hayes and Tony Caicedo as well getting into it side by side as they come through Spoon Curve. Brody Wallace has labeled as having an off track there. But we'll see. Tom Leeson crashed. Amongst all that, he ends up spinning out of the lead there. I wonder what happened. Guess we can go pull him in now that that has settled down. Does he get bumped? It looks like it could have been Tom Leeson. All right. I'll leave it alone. Doesn't want to talk to me. That's fair. Valid. So, that has opened up the GT3 AM podium just a little bit. Luke Penley losing out a couple seconds there as well to Tim Schaefer, who now finds himself with the lead of GT3 AM. Brody Wallace still within half a second of each other. Tony Caicedo about a second and a half now to Kevin Hayes as well. Patrick Cantrell, I think, and Matt Markley once again breaching a second. So we'll see. Yes, I did have that right. So gap closing down here a little bit as Matt Markley really quick in the opening S's of this sector. So, all right. And with that, 21 minutes have elapsed. An hour and 9 left to go. Battles cooking up once again. Hayden Mamenga and Tyler Roberts, Hayden Mamenga and Joe Evers finding themselves in battle as Wesley Woods kind of ends up in being some lap traffic to deal with amongst all that. Patrick Cantrell and Matt Markley battling it out for 8th in class, as well as 8th overall. Luke Plaisance, Nate Sides, I think back in under a second of each other. And then the battle for the lead, which has never really gone away. We keep jumping back to it every now and then. Half a second between these two drivers as Brody Wallace continues to fend off Nicholas Maynard by about half a second. Laps changing between each other. Brody Wallace really finding out where that car can go fast. That Wonder Bread Mustang having a heck of a time up in the lead of this race. Tony Caicedo also goes off track, same time that Tom Leeson did. Let's see what happened here. This was into a spoon curve. I think he tries to avoid hitting Kevin Hayes. And that's where that ends up. But Nate Sides really finding his way through. Going to see him work his way around the hairpin, as he is now within half a second behind Luke Plaisance and that Aston Martin GT3. Wesley Woods, Tyler Roberts go off track again as well. Battle here for this position. Battle between Matt Markley and Patrick Cantrell as well. Nicholas Maynard, Brody Wallace still working on the gap there. 8 seconds between these two drivers, and Nicholas Turrell, who kind of sits on an island 3 seconds ahead of Luke Plaisance. It's a game of speed here for these two drivers. I think Nicholas Maynard trying to figure out where to find that extra bit of time to make a pass later on in the race. Kind of learning the strengths and weaknesses of an opponent, the dance you get to kind of do as the driver behind. As the night drags on for these drivers, morning eventually going to arrive for them in sim is the theory. Oh, really close together now as they get into the Degner 2, or getting out of Degner 2 into the hairpin. Nicholas Maynard 2/10 behind, really pushing now. Once again, two of them under a bit of a blanket. But just as the gap opens up, it closes back down and opens back up once more. The ebb and flow of the way this race has been developing. Tony Caicedo, I think, also finds himself back under a second to Kevin Hayes as well. Tom Leeson, I believe 2 seconds behind. Sorry, 8 seconds behind Luke Penley in that battle for the lead of GT3 AM. But he's now fending off Joe Evers, who is working his way back up the order after his spin. A couple other incidents. Tony Caicedo is tucking in behind Kevin Hayes. This battle heating up pretty quickly. 4/10 between these two drivers. Same goes for Patrick Cantrell and Matt Markley. But can Tony Caicedo get through the chicane cleanly? He's going to think he'll lose a little bit of time there. In fact, it's a fair amount of time. Back up to 8/10 as Kevin Hayes rips through the chicane with ease. But this battle behind, a little bit closer. Matt Markley, 6/10 behind Patrick Cantrell after the chicane, going down the start-finish stretch as we keep on keeping on. 2/10 between Nicholas Maynard and Brody Wallace as they come back around towards Degner's 1 and 2. Who will be latest on the brakes? It's one of the faster sections for Nicholas Maynard. See where he really gains some time here in that fight with Brody Wallace. Still only 200ths slower this past most recent completed lap for Nicholas Maynard than Brody Wallace. So Brody Wallace still ahead by just enough to keep out a victory of time for one more lap. Not a victory overall. We'll see when we get into the final minutes as well as the end of the race who's going to come out on top of all of this. Tyler Roberts' bad day goes to worse, labeled as crashed amongst all this. That is going to be down into Degner 1. Sorry, this is turn number 1. And just a big old slide here. You're going to see him come to a stop, catch it, and get it moving again. Thankfully, before too much of an issue can occur, but I think we're going to see lap traffic of Wesley Woods work his way around. And we jump back in to where we left it. Matt Markley, Patrick Cantrell, 0.3 of a second between these two drivers working on this position. P8 overall. And the craziness continues as these two drivers keep up with each other. 0.3 between these two as they get ready to go into 300R again. And then the gap opening and closing as rapidly as it can between Brody Wallace and Nicholas Maynard. Oh, big late on the brakes for Matt Markley, to not run into Patrick Cantrell, which takes our attention over to this battle between these drivers. Nicholas Maynard so confident in this opening sector on the S's, closes it down to 0.2 of a second pretty consistently throughout here. See if he has enough pace to work his way through and maybe find that final couple tenths to end up in front of Brody Wallace. That, or I think the fuel game might be the one that he's playing at the moment. Whoa, Brody Wallace starting to show a couple, not really, but a couple signs of the gap, the fractures. We'll have to see how he maintains that. Nick Terrell, 9 seconds behind these two drivers. They have kind of run off on their own island. 5 seconds. Oh, Brody Wallace is going to snap oversteer, catches it before it becomes an issue, but that is going to open up the gap considerably for Nicholas Maynard to be on his own at this point. 5-second gap between himself and Brody Wallace. Brody Wallace able to keep the 5-second gap between himself and Nick Terrell, however. Hey, take a look back at that, see what happened here. You can kind of see we're going into Spoon Curve. It's a fast corner. You're light on the brakes. You're letting it do rotation more than really looking for the brakes. But too much oversteer and didn't catch it in time. Sees him come to a unfortunate slide out wide, which we'll see that battle come to a close. Nicholas Maynard ending up at the sharp end of the stick there as a result. And Brody Wallace now splitting the difference between that gap they had built up prior to that spin and Nick Terrell, who sits on third still. Nate Side still 6/10 behind. Luke Plaisance, one of the many battles we have still going on out here. Another one. Tony Caicedo and Kevin Hayes in 6th and 7th. These two 2/10 between each other as Kevin Hayes is getting hounded by the likes of Tony Caicedo. Another battle that is heating back up pretty quickly. Luke Penley, Tim Schaefer for the lead of GT. Oh no. Brody Wallace labeled as crashed once again. Tyler Roberts also with a black flag amongst all this. See if he had another slide here. I wonder if those tires that got cooked earlier. Oh, almost in the same corner, same place, same incident. Looks like. In fact, I think it was the same incident. I'm just misunderstanding that. Tyler Roberts went off track, and that's what was I got confused that it was a new incident with Brody Wallace because it got labeled again. But no, in fact it was not. Tyler Roberts, however, does get a black flag for incident limits after all of his off-track excursions in other incidents. Eli Vergara also gonna have a moment there. He gets back on track, I think, without too much issue. 2/10 these two drivers as they come down to 300R once again. We are 17 laps in the books. See if Tony Caicedo wants to lean on the door into the chicane or if Kevin Hayes is going to block him off from it. Neither of which happen, and they both follow each other through. Or really, Tony Caicedo follows Kevin Hayes through. Matt Markley, once again, trying to see if he can get around Patrick Cantrell. Had a 10th here, but there's a look. Kevin Hayes running defensive down the inside line, which is going to force out Tony Caicedo wide. And they are able to get everything back together. So I'm just making sure I don't have any. No, I don't. Apparently not. All right, whatever. My chat got disconnected in YouTube, and I was like, what happened? But it was nothing. Anyway, battle here. Too wide for the returns number 1 and 2. Tony Caicedo having to filter back out behind and stay in 7th for the moment as he's trying to hunt to find that last couple of 10s and a good run to make the pass complete. Tyler Roberts going to come in to serve that black flag penalty this time by and work his way through, come back out down a good number of positions. I think a drop week in the books for Tyler Roberts. Now free of Nicholas Maynard, Brody Wallace, or sorry, not free of Brody Wallace, Nicholas Maynard building up a new gap here. And Nick Terrell slowly closing down the distance. That 4-second gap, just under 4 seconds now, is a little bit over last time we looked at it more seriously. To keep the gap there. Tony Caicedo once again under a 10th. Kevin Hayes coming through 300R once again. See how well they do. Tony Caicedo leaning, applying the pressure, waiting for Kevin Hayes to finally crack down and work his way back out. Oh, Tony Caicedo having a brief moment there. Sees himself 2/10 behind. He's going to track out with Kevin Hayes. This is going to be a battle for position. Kevin Hayes, knowing he doesn't have to defend here, he's going to take the racing line. That's going to keep this fight within a 3/10 of each other. Matthew Markley, as well as Patrick Cantrell, also diving into just under a couple of tenths, a few tenths there. Tune back in as well. Luc Plaisance, as well as Nate Sides, in under a second of each other. 3/10 as Nate Sides has slowly been chipping away at a time from Luc Plaisance, who sits in fourth. These two drivers, one of the many floating around here. Tyler Roberts coming back into pit lane. Joe Evers also into pit lane after a meatball flag. You can see it there on the screen. Let's find out what happened to Joe Evers. Oh, that looks really loose going into the, really loose into the S's. Bounces that back left off of the wall there. You can see it is not moving when the rest of that car is slowly starting to roll. And you see it continue to just kind of drag as that thing is fully disconnected from the drivetrain. And that is going to cause that car to have to be towed to pit lane. A heartbreak for Joe Evers. I think it's been a pretty rough season trying to drive that Audi. I don't know what it is. People either love or hate the Audi. And it's always one that I feel like unless you get the setup just right, it is prone to try to kill you. Hell, even if you get it just right, it still seems like it wants to kill you. But that's neither here nor there. A heartbreak for Joe Evers, and hopefully he has the opportunity to use this as a drop week like many of our drivers. I think, not many, but a few will. As they wrap up this evening. 35 minutes in the books. We are getting close to halfway here. 2/3 left. Just under 2/3, I should say. Remaining an hour and 15, or hour and 5 minutes. Nope. Less than an hour. 55 minutes left. Jeez, I can English. Eli Vergara going to have another off as well. 7 seconds for Nicholas Maynard. And Brody Wallace still trying to keep that gap. It's slowly chipping away a couple tenths at a time as Nick Terrell is finding a little bit more pace here. These two drivers that we've still been riding along with, Luc Plaisance and Nate Sides, going to find themselves still within a few tenths of each other. Tyler Roberts is going to be working his way down the order. Zachary Holden going to get passed by Eli Vergara as well. For those two drivers, Tony Caicedo and Kevin Hayes going to look deep lunge into spoon curve. Over under out of Kevin Hayes. Going to make them too wide. They both keep their noses about them. And I think finally Kevin Hayes has to let Tony Caicedo through just because of the more, because Tony has more speed. I don't think it's really one that he really wants to do, but I think it's one he has to because of the speed difference between these two drivers. Luke Penley is going to keep chasing down Tim Shaver for the win in GT3 AM as well. You're going to see that. I think that's that. One of the GNU downforce drivers has a great run out of the final corner. 2 tenths better, or say a couple tenths quicker than Tim Schaefer, who is right in front of him. That's going to be, well, he's going to have to do a little bit of lift, though. You can't go too wide through 300R, and both of them know that. They thankfully get themselves sorted out before the chicane. And, oh, that car really feisty there. Both of them. You see a little bit of a shake there out of Tim Schaefer as well. Is going to see both of those drivers find their way, lose a little bit of time in the process, but keep it together. Off-track counts fairly high for what the system is reporting, but I have no idea if that's fully accurate or if there are pieces there that are not. Tony Caicedo holding on to that half-second lead to Kevin Hayes. It's growing a little bit here and there, a couple tenths every now and then. And this fight not seeming to die down very quickly. Every time I look away from it and look back to it, we've been kind of following along with it. As I look over at the timing tower, really, this battle is the one to watch on track. Luke Plaisance, Nate Sides, about half a second as well. We'll probably hop over to them if I see that dip down a little bit further for those two drivers. You can see that gap once it kind of reaches the threshold there. You'll see it dip back down into what would be the orange territory. You see it do this so there just for a moment, and it kind of stabilize out above. Zachary Holden, I think, trying to catch up to Eli Vergara as well. Kind of the last of our on-lap drivers that are not a lap down. Such good speed for Luke Penley through a lot of these straights. Coming back into 300R. And 2/10, just so much time being gained in these straightaways by Luke Penley. But doesn't seem to be able to keep it as tight throughout most of this track, however. I think he's just kind of pushing, waiting for an opportunity to arise. Zachary Holden, Zachary Holden, Eli Vergara going too wide into the hairpin. Just going to see them work their way through. Luke Plaisance, Nate Sides up to 2/10 as well. Opening back up as they get through Degner's 1 and 2. But this will kind of keep its same momentum. With Luke Plaisance losing a little bit of time here and there, but able to keep ahead of Nate Sides so far as we get pretty close to the halfway mark. 5 minutes till that point, and then we're equally as far out as we are home. A heck of a drive from most of these individuals. We see a couple of battles still going on. A lot of them now separated by a few seconds. We're going to see this battle for, I would say, the pit lane strategy be the thing that evolves next. But 2/10, Nate Sides still hunting down Luke Plaisance. Do another onboard. We haven't done one in a little while. As we get a little more spread out here, it gets a little bit harder to see with the night lights. No real track lights here to help illuminate our cars like we do in some of the other locations like Daytona, parts of Le Mans, and some other more endurance-based tracks that have a little bit more lights to them. These ones do not, or night racing, I suppose. Doesn't always have to be endurance racing, but night racing and street lights in general. That'll see most of these drivers working their way through once again. Off track there from Nate Sides, but that 3/10 gap continues. Wesley Woods coming back into pit lane to actually get a pit stop done. Pit stops, I think, anywhere from now until the end of the race, they can be done. taking a look out on track. All of these battles now, a little bit over a second. So, come back to bothering people. Well, that was the person I was going to bother. Now, back into a fight. One to keep an eye on. Kevin Hayes still a few tenths behind. Gets a really good run through the S's here, which has brought him back into a more direct fight. Luke Penley, Tim Schaefer also within a second once again. Just as these things ebb, they also flow. Nate Sides down to a 10th as they come down the back straightaway. Nate, are you going to make the look?
What's that?
I was going to ask if you're going to make the look in the 300R. And I realized it probably wouldn't be that.
I didn't have quite enough steam on me, so.
Very fair. All right. What's the plan to get around Luke?
I've been saving a lot of fuel. I'm hoping I can
right.
just take him in the pits. So.
All right. Well, I suppose good luck with that. I'm running out of things to talk about, so I'm just starting to bother people.
Gotcha.
And Marcus isn't here to do that for me, so I have to do it. So.
Gotcha.
Pit lane strategy. Very good. All right. Well, good luck with that. I suppose, leave you to it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
All
have fun. Nate Sides currently sitting in 5th. I think I distracted him a little bit. He lost about a few tenths there. Kevin Hayes, Tony Caicedo still within a little while, but I don't want to call it and pull in. Kevin Hayes in the focus chat. He wants to focus up to get around Tony Caicedo. I'm not going to bother Tony Caicedo. I've bothered him enough. Well, I'll bother him here in a little bit when he's not under fire from Kevin Hayes. Give them both the best chance here. Luke Penley as one of these drivers. You know what? I will say hi to Luke Penley. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. We'll see. See if we get an opportunity there. Keeping along with a lot of these drivers. Like I said to Nate, kind of hitting the spot where battles now being, I think, fought for positions in the pit cycle. So in kind of the fun amalgamous zone of the battles done via pit strategy and through, wow, man, Tim Shaver really trying to make sure he doesn't run into the driver lap traffic of Wesley Woods. Speaking of Wesley Woods.
Hey, Finn.
How's the race going for you?
Fantastic, Finn.
Is that a hint of sarcasm?
It's been unfortunate, but
fair.
Just a small hint.
Okay.
No, it's been a fair race. I'm doing all right. I am a little aggravated, but hey, it's racing, ain't it?
That is the joy of racing. I mean, you do have a pretty good fight going on in front of you at this moment, though.
Yeah, I think that's the best thing I'm gonna do is get to watch these fights as they come by me.
Well, maybe this week, but I imagine in a few weeks' time you'll be fighting up there with them, if not sooner. So I'd say thing definitely improving pace. Consistency, I think, is the next piece.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. And it's the more technical tracks. I notice myself doing that a lot.
Oh.
It's these long ones. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, if the incident didn't happen earlier, I feel like I could be doing just fine. But yeah, my consistency is definitely what I need to work on, or at least track attention, or what is it? Attention to surroundings.
Yeah, awareness, general
Awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
staying in the groove of really focusing on what you're working about.
Oh yeah, exactly. And I mean, I come from a oval background. Usually, you watch what's in front of you. Here, you really got to watch what's behind you, what's to the side of you. It's yeah.
A little bit of a different ball game, but you're also doing a little bit more than just turning left a bunch. So
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So have you got your pit stop done for the night? Am I understanding that correctly?
I've done 2.
Okay.
So yeah, I had I spun out in that last chicane. Somebody hit me on my front left and dented my wheel in, so I had to tow.
Okay.
And then later on, I was in a battle with Tyler Roberts, I believe it was.
Okay.
Or not necessarily a battle, but we just happened to be side by side, and I think I got too busy in my mirror and ran into a wall.
Oh,
Not
no.
enough damage to not enough damage to like tow me, like the first incident did. But it was definitely enough to slow me down, get me more off of pace than what I was. Which surprisingly, if my predicted time's telling me correctly, I was still doing 2s with a damaged front end.
Hey, that's good.
Oh yeah.
But you finally decided to take it in and get it fixed up.
Yeah, my crew chief, I kept asking him to get somebody to hop over the wall and try to take care of the hood while I was driving. He wouldn't listen, so I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna bring it in. Let's get that, and also get that fuel you mentioned about 13 laps ago.
Very fair.
Yeah, we have a love-hate relationship, me and my spotter and/or crew chief.
Fair. Very valid. It's how it always
Oh, yeah.
is. You know, if they're not sounding like they may or may not be doing cocaine at various points of the race, and
Oh yeah, for sure.
you also don't really appreciate them, but also kind of despise them at the same time. Is it really your crew chief
Yeah.
/ spotter?
Yeah, you're right. Technically, it could be just like built-in game schizophrenia that you got to deal with the whole race.
That's true.
It's possible.
They
Yeah.
do like to really tell you that the leader is pitting. I've noticed that one. That one's always a fun one.
Oh yeah, that and yeah, when you're in like dead last like I was earlier, and it tells you, oh, the leader's doing a minute 57. I don't care what the leader's doing. I'm 30 cars behind him, and 2 laps down.
Well, they want you to know that way in case you're faster, you can keep up the good work, or at least aspire to get there. So.
Yeah, I guess he's just trying to give me the push I need.
Yeah.
You're right, Finn.
That's exactly it. All right, I'm going to go bother Tom Leeson about the pit cycle as well. So good luck to the rest of the race. Still putting in good work, so you got it.
Thank you, Finn.
Absolutely.
And thank you for inviting me.
Always. It's a good time. All right. Tom Leeson.
Hello.
Pit strategy. Talk me through it.
The pit strategy is my tires are absolutely done and I need new ones, so I'm going to go get them.
All right. Fair enough. Is that what caused... Was there contact in that spin you had earlier? I meant to ask you in time, but I didn't hear from you.
Yeah, there was a bit. It was a little
Okay.
bump, but I was going slow through that hairpin, so I kind of expected it.
Gotcha.
But what can you do? I'm on the struggle bus tonight, though. I'm not doing well.
Well, that's what the benefit of drop rounds are for, so...
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes, but, you know. What is it, Watkins and Barber next?
I believe so for our final sprint race
Yeah.
of the season. I will not be here next week, so...
Oh, man. Well, I might skip it too then. What's the point if we don't get to hear your sultry
all
voice?
right, all right. No, there's plenty of reasons to race. Might get a fantastic set of results.
I mean, you never know, but Watkins and Barber historically never been kind to me, so
That's
we'll see.
fair.
We'll see what happens. I'll give it a go.
Yeah. And then we go to end of August to round off the season. I will be back for that.
Yeah,
I'm
that's that I'm looking forward to. But I was looking at the schedule and it doesn't show any rain on the in the
Oh man.
forecast.
Of course not. Why would it? Why would it do that?
Why would it?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be the rain week, right? But
Yeah. Why would it show rain on the rain week?
I'd like to think everybody's, we're being kept in the dark. You gotta keep us guessing.
Would love for that to be the case. I'm pretty sure it's just the.
I'm pretty sure Marcus just screwed up.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. So, all right, I'll let you get back to racing. We are
all right, man.
halfway home, as they say. Only half an hour to go. You got this.
Let's hope I can get there.
I believe you can. So, all right, good luck. I'm throwing you back down.
Thank you, Fen.
Absolutely. Take it. Tom Leeson working his way through as well. Luke Plaisance came on the radio a little while ago. I didn't miss exactly what he said. But this battle heated back up once again. It seems to kind of just be on the back burner whenever it's not on the foreground. Talk to Nate Sides about what the plan is. Another plan. I need a person to talk to you about plans. Nicholas Maynard.
What's going on?
I'm just walking around the paddock asking about pit strategies and nonsense at this point, since most of the battles have seemed to dime down a fair bit. So, what's the do you care to share the loose workings of the plan? Is it when you run out of fuel, just come in and fuel it up again?
Yep, here I'll be out at the end of this lap, so I'll be coming in.
Oh, perfect. All right. Well, then we get to see that play out.
What's everybody else's strategy?
I think it's most people's strategy. A couple of them are my tires fell off, so I got new ones. But that was
man. Yeah. Speaking of that, it's getting a little fun out here on these tires.
Are they a little upset with you? I know they
are not happy.
I know I saw them give up for Brody Wallace a little while ago, so I would not be surprised.
Yeah, honestly, I think that was going to be the only way I was going to get by him. Like, I really had nothing for him, so my plan was just to try to pressure him and hope he made that mistake. And I mean, it kind of worked out, but it was a bummer to see.
It's one of those dual. Not really dual. You know what I mean? It's double-edged sword, where it's
right.
Fun to see, but also you're now on an island and you don't have somebody to kind of chase down and make you work for the place you're at.
Oh, these tires are making me work for it.
Well, until the tires decide to say they want to kick you off, like they're a Bronco that really doesn't want somebody on it.
Yeah, I think. Did you happen to see Birdie's new sim rig that he posted?
I need to go back and actually look. Shea rig.
Yeah. It's really paying off for him.
I would have to imagine.
Speaking of getting kicked off the horse.
Brody Wallace also chasing you in, so on the same schedule. Let's see what
through my popsicle.
Oh no. Ooh. Are you getting tires as well, or just fuel?
Yes, tires too.
Okay. All right. Well, I will leave you to it. Looks like the rest of the field's kind of piling in. Nate's Sides, I think, is sticking out a lap. He did a bunch of fuel saving, so I wish you luck. I'll let you get back to it.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Alrighty. And Nicholas Maynard working his way through after getting through the pit cycle. Bunch of drivers working their way in right now. Patrick Cantrell staying out, as well as Nate Sides, going to take over the lead of this race for a moment. Has enough fuel to kind of fuel save. Did a bunch of it behind Luke Plaisance earlier on, but Luke Plaisance, one of the many drivers to work their way out. Luke Penley in with a black flag. I wonder if that's for speeding in pit lane. That should throw a interesting change in plans for these drivers as they get through the pit stop schedule. Yeah, it's going to be a stop and go penalty there. You see him just stopped in the box. Or he was too far forward. Ooh, interesting. Tim Schaefer now kind of on an island. He was excited about his win in the MX-5 off week, but now finds himself at the head of GT3 AM. A solid ways ahead from anybody else in class. Luke Penley, still the next driver for the moment, as Tom Leeson's going to work his way back around despite all of that. Tony Caicedo going to be coming out ahead of Luke Plaisance. Interesting. A lap ahead. What happened there? Luke Plaisance the much slower outlap? Or just a faster set of laps for Tony Caicedo before that? I think it might be the case. Meatball flag for Brody Wallace, as he is missing a rear bumper and a big portion of his back end. What the heck happened here? Oh, slide coming into, oh, where is that on track? Hold on, let's go back again. Go for the blimp cam. This is, oh, once again, spoon curve strikes harder this time after that outlap, and that entire rear end looks really upset. No brake there, and he comes back around, tries to get that car stopped, and is just sliding around in the back there. And that car has been towed to pit road. It is a bit of a heartbreaker for Brody Wallace, who started leading the race and now finds himself back in pit lane after all of that calamity. Nicholas Maynard going to be 14 seconds ahead, kind of on an island. Nate Sides going to be inheriting a podium position there. Luke Plaisance going to be right alongside Tony Caicedo, though, along with Kevin Hayes in the background. Bit of a slower lap for Luke Plaisance. I think that's what got him kind of stuck in the weeds with these drivers. A bit of a rough one there. Kevin Hayes, oh, dude, these three. Let's high up on board with Kevin Hayes, see what it looks like to be in the third driver of these three, working their way through. Yeah, cold tires is what caught out Brody Wallace there, who is in second, trying to chase down Nicholas Maynard. And Matt Markley going to do the undercut to get ahead of Patrick Cantrell by a couple tenths as he works his way back out on cold tires. Brody Wallace going to rejoin the race just ahead of some of the GT3 AM drivers. Yeah, Luke Penley, after serving that penalty, ends up only 5 seconds ahead of Tom Leeson. And we'll see where he ends up amongst all that. Just kind of still riding on board 300R. A sketchy one on cold tires. See if everybody makes it through. Huge lift out of Kevin Hayes there. You heard it. As that engine went from, continuing to try to work its way up the RPM range down to working its way back down the RPM range. There we go. That's the English I wanted to say. And then these three all still looking for this bottom, not the bottom step of the podium, but the step just off of it. Nate Sides, 2 seconds ahead of these three drivers in a pretty fantastic run. Luke Penley on the radio talking about how his car is feeling as he's got that car back around. Tom Leeson, little ways behind, lapped by Nicholas Maynard. I think it's where Nicholas Maynard getting around Luke Penley now, which I think is what that commentary was for that radio. Brody Wallace now with a black flag amongst everything else for the incident limits. So, as if the day hadn't already gotten worse, he is now being kicked while he is down for reaching the incident limit and now needing to serve a drive-through penalty. So, with that being said, this battle on track right now, these three drivers, really the closest one to worry about. Tony Caicedo at the lead of it. Perfect time to bring him in.
This is a pretty stressful time to bring me in. Almost spun there. Put me back.
Well, all right.
Put
Have
me
fun.
back.
Good luck.
Fen.
I'll put it back. Just wanted to stress him out a little bit further. So, leading this trio of cars, Brody Wallace is going to park it for the moment, call it a day. Tom Leeson going to be seeing if he can chase down that 3-second gap between himself and Luke Penley to try to move up the step of the podium order. These three drivers changing positions every now and then. Let's see if I get a good look off the rear of this car. That Outlander Motorsports GT3. That's what I need to do. Sorry, thinking for a brief moment here. Taking a look at a couple things going on here. These three drivers really pushing it to the limit. We're still hanging out with Tony Caicedo as well as Luke Plaisance trying to find his way around. And riding on board with all of them. 30 minutes, a little bit less than 30 minutes, 25 minutes left here on the clock. Nicholas Maynard getting a little wide there on turn number 1. As they all get into Spoon Curve once again. Luke Plaisance looking to try to close the gap here. Nate Sides a little bit slow up ahead. May turn this into a 4-way fight for the bottom step of the podium. We'll have to see. Gets a great run here. Luke Plaisance heavy on that curbing. Almost loses control of that car. Gets it wrangled up though. And keeps it behind Tony Caicedo and ahead of Kevin Hayes. Three-tenths of a second between these two drivers. Luke Plaisance trying to find that last little bit of time in that Prestige Motorsports GT3. I get the feeling we'll see that come back in the favor of all of these drivers. Matt Markley basically able to dispatch Patrick Cantrell. Patrick Cantrell slowly reeling him in, setting a little bit faster laps this past couple laps. So we may see that fight come back into play here in a moment. Luke Plaisance using as much of that curbing as possible to try to keep Tony Caicedo within reach for this step just beyond the podium in the top 5 as these three battle for those 2 spots. And just up the road from them, about a second and a half, is going to be Nate Sides, who continues to keep about a 1.5 second gap to Tony Caicedo. And then you get 16 seconds ahead of him, it's Nick Terrell. And then another 13 seconds ahead of him is going to be Nicholas Maynard. We're all basically on the island. Islands? On islands. Basically by themselves. That's the English I think I'm trying to say. My English don't none to work good today. I burned it all rallying earlier. So, sorry, not sorry. Pretty fantastic stuff. These three still duking it out for position. Finally starting to open up a little bit between each other. Not, however, by a ton after these crashes with these drivers. Brody Wallace, I think. has called it a day. Trying to see what else happened. Kevin Hayes labeled as off track, but still at the tail end of these, so really not that different. Tony Caicedo setting his personal best, his most recent time by. Wesley Woods now with a black flag for incident limits as well. It's going to bring those 3 drivers into a little bit of an issue. Nicholas Maynard went off track, came back on track. See what happened here. Just kind of curious. I think this was one we saw a little ways earlier for that big moment that he had off track there. Gap between all these 3 drivers starting to open up a little bit, about a second apiece now. They were about half a second earlier. Finally, a little bit of breathing room as we get into the closing stages here. 20 minutes left to go, and the opportunities there for all of these drivers still working their way through. A good handful have retired from this race, the bottom 5 pretty much, with Ken Duvall not even beginning this race. Eli Vergara going to get another drive-through penalty for incident limits. Follow-on ones, I believe, are pretty quick after the initial, so it'll be a interesting, I think, time to see where it develops to. I wanted to see real quick while I was thinking about it what those numbers are for incidents. 18 incidents in every 6 incidents after. I should have known that. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, right. It hasn't changed one bit since I started with this league. Actually, it's changed like once. Never mind. But like, not often. Anyway. Wesley Woods coming in to serve his drive-through penalty. The rest of these drivers still working their way around. Less than 20 minutes left to go. And it is going to be a doozy. With just under that much time. Patrick Cantrell slowly finding time on Matt Markley. And we'll see if he's able to work his way around. Tom Leeson going to let, I believe, Nick Terrell through. Yep, right up the road there. Who's on his own hunt for the continuation of his gap to the podium. Patrick Cantrell setting his personal best lap, a 158.94, faster than Pat Markley's personal best. But he's getting pretty close to it with a 159.08 this last time by. So only a 10th difference between these two. Gaps open and close throughout this lap. It's going to be, I think, an interesting one for these drivers to work through. Wesley Woods, exit pit lane, left pit lane, still has a black flag. I don't understand why, but we'll find out. I'm sure he will tell. Oh, Wesley Woods labeled as crashed. What happened? What happened to Wesley Woods here? Coming down after Duggan 1 and 2, coming into the hairpin. Oh, that car is a little slow there. Oh, he's missing a wing? No, he has the wing. Okay. Lewis crash just hooks it around and gets it back going again. But he's going to have to get that thing a little bit ways down to pit road again. That's probably why he just had that loss of control, giving them that 2x too many to get another drive-through penalty, or who knows. And with that, this race slowly coming to an end. Meatball flag for Zachary Holden. Let's find out what happened here. Wonder if it's in a similar place. Always such interesting places. Coming in, out. Oh. Same place I think we saw the back end of Joe Evers coming out of turn number 1 and 2. No, this is the run up to Degner Curve. Excuse me. We'll get that car, unfortunately, turned around and put into the wall, the meatball. So Holden is going to tow it to pit lane. Wesley Woods, I think maybe got a speeding in pit lane penalty would be my guess. And he's going to work his way through multi-class traffic. Tony Caicedo as well, trying to get around Hayden Mamenga, who's going to lift out for all of these drivers to work their way through. Patrick Cantrell, Matthew Markley still worrying and trying to get through. Deal with their own battle amongst all this. Half a second, Patrick Cantrell reclaiming that time to Matt Markley for this spot P7 these two are fighting for. And just when you think this battle is done, Patrick Cantrell reclaiming the time, getting time back in that Project Zumi's Ferrari 296 GT3 to keep on keeping on, fighting on, as well as Luke Plaisance slowly closing the gap to Tony Caicedo. Back under a second. Kevin Hayes a few seconds back. Nate Sides a couple seconds ahead of these two drivers. One of kind of the two battles on track in the closing minutes. 15 of those to go. And plenty of time for these drivers to still fight it out, battle for positions, figure out where they want to be at the end of 15 minutes time, or really the end of 90 minutes in a few minutes time. So Luke Plaisance gets back into what we consider the draft range, which is just about a second behind the driver ahead of them, especially with Tony Caicedo purposely being a little bit cautious throughout 300R because that Porsche does not like going through at speed. We'll see how much time can be picked up there if Luke Plaisance has played the fuel game accordingly. Zachary Holden gets back out on track after jumping to pits and goes back on track again. Wait, what happened here? Is this separate? Hold on. No, that's its own thing. This is the incident. This is the same one I'm thinking. All right. Well, I'm misunderstanding all of what my event ticker is just telling me. So I'm gonna go back to looking at the live stuff, the important racing, and the action going on here. As Luke Plaisance continues to try to reel in the gap to Tony Caicedo. Eli Vergara coming back into pit lane, I think, to come and get a splash and dash or get more repairs done on the car. Let's see here. Both of these two battles still under a second after an hour and 18 minutes of racing. We're getting into the closing stages here, closing minutes. And Tony Caicedo being really patient, really careful coming into that final chicane, which is where that time is being gained by Luke Plaisance. Throughout the rest of the lap, it seems to be bleeding away from him. But in that final corner, that 300R is where all that time gets gained back. Patrick Cantrell, I think, in a similar position, trying to hunt down the draft. Really powerful for these GT3 machines. He's going to see that gap. Both these gaps close back down. That Project Zumi's GT3 still working its way around. You know, I thought it'd get light at some point in this race, and it certainly has not. So, 4/10 between Patrick Cantrell, Matt Larkley. Let's ride on board. Haven't ridden on board with the GT3, a Ferrari, in a little while. It's a lot of fun. Miss the sounds of that V8, I think it is. I can't remember if it's turbocharged or naturally aspirated. I think it's a turbocharged. It's been a while. I don't really keep up with my GT3s too perfectly. So maybe I should, but these two battles still remaining as they were. Patrick Cantrell, Matt Markley, 4/10 between themselves. Luke Plaisance back into 5/10. Again, that final sector really being the time and the place where Tony Caicedo allows a little bit of time to slip away from him purposely to keep that car going the right direction. I would have to imagine at this point, well worth it, I think, for Tony Caicedo to get in with a solid run. Otherwise, taking a look up ahead at these drivers in third and fourth as we get into the last 10 minutes, 9 left on the clock. Morning, I think, finally starting to break for these drivers as the cars come home for the, I would say, a few more laps, probably about 5 of them, including the one we're on right now. Nicholas Maynard working his way out of Spoon Curve, probably to start the 4 laps to go this time by would be my guess at the end of this lap. Still sitting very solidly in first, 15 seconds ahead of Nate Terrell, who's 15 seconds ahead of Nate Sides, who is 3 seconds ahead of Tony Caicedo. Dawn finally arrives for these drivers. 8X Sun, as the C stands for Challenge, part of OMEC. Does allow for a little bit of fun weather or fun time shenanigans. All really had to let off to not run into stuff there, and that has brought Luke Plaisance right onto the back end of Tony Caicedo. Luke Plaisance really trying to find his way around at this point, 3/10, and that gap seems to be closing in the closing minutes here. It's going to be a bit of a defense. Tony Caicedo picking the outside line, going to see if he gets the run done. Luke Plaisance not going to take the inside line, going to keep driving behind Tony Caicedo. Tony Caicedo, I think, driving the tires off as much as he can. 3/10 to these two drivers as we keep on with both of them. Let's see. Not the best look. There we go. We'll go right on the roof cam. Still a 4/10 between those two drivers. Hayden Mamenga with a black flag amongst all that. We get a perfect view of a tree as we watch these cars come into Spoon Curve once again with just over 6 minutes to go. And the third sector, is where Tony seems to lose a lot of his time to Luke Plaisance in the closing stages here. So see whether or not they have the opportunity to try to push for an overtake. This is going to be for P4, just the top 5. Luke Plaisance is on a hunt to end the race where he started in 5th place. But keeps that car right behind Tony Caicedo for the moment. As these two get into it. Tom Leeson letting Nate Sides through. May elect to let Tony through at some point. We'll have to see where they end up. Hayden Mamega diving in. Zachary Holden also still in pit lane after his incident. Those two drivers of the Rolling Chicane Motorsports team going to find themselves having a little bit of a rough evening, as it's happened to do every time. Tom Leeson trying to let both those drivers through without issue. After a drive of his own has gone a little bit less than stellar. Not bad, though. Very good recovery drive after that spin early on. Oh, Tony Caicedo using as much of that runoff as he dares. He's going to keep to Luke Plaisance at 2/10 behind him. Almost 3. Let's see if there is a look out of the hairpin or into Spoon Curve. It's going to be a great, fantastic run for both these drivers. Technically a little bit of a better edge to Tony Caicedo, but the draft is going to cause Luke Plaisance to just kind of hang out right behind him. Same goes in this battle for Patrick Cantrell and Matt Markley, who are also still in the thick of it for the final closing laps. Wesley Woods right in front of them, going to be causing them a little bit of a bottleneck. So Wesley Woods almost takes out Matt Markley. I don't think he intended to, just don't think he realized there was cars there. As the day session officially kicks back on in the last 5 minutes, last 6 minutes, it almost feels like we were at a masquerade. And midnight has hit. And now the masquerade is over. And we get to reveal all the car liveries. Oh! I looked away for the wrong moment. Luke Plaisance ends up off track, on track, into the crash. What happened there? Applies the power down, gets loose right here, slides right in the barrier, tries to correct it, doesn't do so in time. And that battle for P4 is going to come to a screeching halt as Luke Plaisance has that car. That car looks very upset. It's technically moving, but I think he parks it here, and he is going to jump into the pit lane. That's going to be a heartbreak for Luke Plaisance after such a good recovery drive to try to get back up into P4, and that fight with Tony Caicedo comes to a bittersweet end with just a brief moment of oversteer. That is all it takes sometimes, unfortunately. Patrick Cantrell still trying to chase down Matt Markley for one of the final spots, still up for contention with less than a second of gap between them. Meanwhile, top 5 now, all settled with just a couple minutes left to go. 3 of them, to be exact, or a little under 3 of them, I should say. With that still rolling in the winds. See if there is a response there. Nicholas Maynard, I think, is coming down to start his last couple of laps. I don't think we have a good flag man to tell us. I don't think we're on the white flag yet. But Patrick Cantrell looking to try to improve to P6 now that Luke Plaisance has towed that car and fallen out of the top 5, which also improves Kevin Hayes up into 5th, as well as all of these drivers working their way up. Joe Evers finds himself up into 8th as a result. And Luke Plaisance will be one of about 5 drivers, or I think it will be the 6th driver of those that do not come home to the checkered flag. And thankfully, still working that out, still battling this for this position. Half a second is what they usually kind of net out to over the distance. I think we have 2 more laps after this time by for these 2 drivers to figure out their positions. And we'll see where Nicholas Maynard comes in just a moment's time. Oh, and a huge off track for Patrick Cantrell. Well, I think maybe bring a close to that battle for P6. But we have 2 laps still. Anything can happen. Nicholas Maynard's going to be coming across, take the white flag this time by, I think somewhere around here, there is a flag man that will show us that there is, in fact, a flag flying. I don't know where, but somewhere in there is one. So, with that, we have one more lap for all of these drivers to help secure positions that they have. And I get the feeling that most of them are going to be pretty happy with where they're ending up after tonight's race. Well, not all of them, but I think a good portion of them happy to do so. Nicholas Maynard going to round out all 17 corners of this track. I have to remember. 18 if you include the bend. So, yes, not quite 17. 18 corners to round out a 90-minute race. You can see the time accelerating because we have hit the white flag, which means that the timer now does its own thing as a result of the 8X. So we're going to go well over 1 hour and 30 minutes of racing because the white flag causes the timer to just go haywire. All battles have, I think, been resolved as long as everybody gets it home to the checkered flag pretty successfully at this point. Nicholas Maynard 15 seconds ahead of Nick Terrell, who is 17 seconds ahead of Nate Sides. Tony Caicedo 2 seconds back from Nate Sides, I think, still trying to close down that distance. But 11 seconds between him and Kevin Hayes. Tony Caicedo, I should say, and Kevin Hayes. And then Matt Markley 16 seconds back from there. Patrick Cantrell, after that brief moment of an off, he wrangled it back up. Thankfully, don't lose any more positions, but continues his charge in 7th. A busy night tonight as Nicholas Maynard works his way through the final couple of corners to take home the checkered flag. First of many drivers that get to do that, and we will be kind of hanging out on the grid to see Nicholas Maynard burn it down as he does in style, with Eli Vergara and Wesley Woods getting laps, black flags on the closing laps, and almost getting taken out by Nick Terrell. Comes on P2. Nate Sides is going to round out that podium 1.9 seconds ahead of Tony Caicedo. Both those drivers take it home. Pretty solid finishes, all things considered. And the rest of the drivers are going to work their way home. Lap traffic as well of Luke Penley and Tom Leeson going to take home their respective podium spots. And Tim Schaefer is leading GT3 Pro. Though Matt Markley, nope, everybody doing things there. That's Wesley Woods. Wesley Woods has found himself on a bit of a moment there, working his way through the final couple corners. And Matt Markley almost avoids running into Nicholas Maynard, who is burning it down. Patrick Cantrell going to come home in 7th there as we get the last of Wesley Woods. I think Zachary Holden is going to be our last driver to take to the checkered flag, just ahead of Joe Evers, which I think is going to be our last driver on the lead lap to come home for the checkered flag as well, as Tim Schaefer works his way through the final couple of corners to take home the GT3 AM victory for his race tonight. I think he's pretty happy about that based on the blinks coming out of that GT3 Aston Martin. Pretty happy about that. Had the luck to get the podium in in the MX-5s during the off-week shenanigans, and then is going to find himself burning it down real fast on the outside here of the race here. We get some results, which I still need to fix. I think I'm going to do that here between these two races. My goal between this week and by the time we come back. We fix this. Nicholas Maynard of 104 is going to be take home the win here. Once again, battling out with Brody Wallace for most of that race before Brody Wallace had a pair of incidents that took him out. Nick Terrell going to come home second there, and Nate Side's going to be in third, rounding out that podium. Tonio and Caicedo and Kevin Hayes rounding out that top five. Those two drivers, 11 seconds apart, though they were battling for most of that race. Matt Markley, Patrick Cantrell going to be top seven. Joe Evers going to finish one lap down, technically, from the leader. And Luke Plaisance, Brody Wallace, Tyler Roberts, as well as Jason Larson, all going to be drivers that do not finish this race as a result of incidents taking them out. In GT3 AM, Tim Schaefer, the driver you see still celebrating well-deservedly, is going to take home the win there. Luke Penley and Tom Leeson going to round out that podium. A fantastic result for those two drivers, all the same. Hayden Mamenga, Eli Vergara going to finish in fourth and fifth. Wesley Woods, I think, is going to be our last on-track finisher. Zachary Holden in seventh is going to be our last on-track finisher. DJ McAteer and Ken Duvall. DJ McAteer is going to not finish this race. And Ken Duvall, I don't believe, actually started it despite showing up in the session. So, a wonderful result for those drivers, and I think a good spot to end the race here. I think we will wrap it up for the evening, unless somebody ends up in chat. Well, we pull in some podium sitters. All right. I'm pulling in podium setters. Bear with me. All right. GT3 Pro podium. Welcome.
Hi.
How's
Welcome.
it?
It's good. Want the plan?
About 89 minutes of hot lapping.
Well,
I was just chilling, saving fuel. That's all I was doing.
Did you go an extra lap?
I think I went 2 laps compared to you guys. I went
Yeesh.
30,
Yeah,
I
you did,
think,
Nate.
total.
yeah.
I could have gone longer had I actually put full fuel, but I started with like 3 or 4 gallons less just to
Yeah.
lighten the car a little and tinker around. I mean, I didn't know how it was going to work out, but honestly, was very happy with the P2 once I saw the pace of what Brody had and, of course, the other Nick in here, whose last name will not be said. I was playing. Maybe.
Yeah, Brody was quick.
Yeah, he looped it once and then looped on cold tires with a meatball. And then
yeah.
I think had like a speeding penalty or something like that too. He was rather pissed himself at that point.
Yeah. Spun at the same place twice. Once on 2 warm tires and once on 2 cold tires is what I believe. Not a very educated opinion, but just what I saw out of the booth. So
I just about ate it 130R on cold tires coming out of the pits. Then it scared me, and I kept lifting.
all right.
Yeah, that turn was it almost bit me a time or two. Once there towards the end of the first stint, I started lifting as well. I was like, not today.
I was
Yeah.
surprised the grip seemed to get worse as we went.
Yeah, it was really weird.
I think it's just how cold it got overnight. And it got to like
Yeah.
point where it
Well,
no
it
longer
got down to 67. Yeah. Yeah, track tip was like 67 in the middle of the night, and then it actually got colder at like dawn time as it was getting light out. It was like going down to 65 at that
heck?
point. I was like, wait, what? I was like, well, it was weird. And then like qualifying, you'd think like it would have been pretty grippy in the nighttime. It was almost like, I guess, like too cold. But it was still like 67. So I don't know. iRacing doesn't know what to do whenever the time excels at 8x.
Yeah, the weather system I don't think is quite prepared for what to do with temperatures at 8x. But all right, congrats again on your podium. I'll go talk to the AM podium finishers. I think Tim Schaefer will be very excited about it.
Yeah, Tim.
So-
Yeah, Tim had a hell of a race.
All right.
Yeah, impressed with him.
Do you guys want to stay
Thank
in?
you, sir.
We'll
Thanks,
just,
Ben.
all right. I'll kick y'all out, and then we'll bring him in. Congrats again. Really ad hoc, so forgive me. We'll be back soon. Love y'all. Bye.
Yep.
Thank
Absolutely. All right. Tim Schaefer, Tommy Leeson,
Hey, what's up?
GT3 and podium finishers. How was the race?
Yeah, not too bad. It was, you know, it was a little bit tough. Track felt pretty slippy, but got through it.
No, it was tough. I had zero practice coming into this. Literally zero. I just threw a setup on and said, fuck it. Luke gave me a serious run for my money before the first pit. I have no idea what happened to him after. Because I'd come out of pit expecting him. Like, when I went in, I'm like, I'm doing whatever the opposite that he does. So he went in, I went out, come out of the pits, and I'm like, all over my relative, like, where is he? And then, like, I was like, 50 seconds? I'm like, what happened? So I was like, those are the most grueling, however many laps I had to do to get the white flag. I was like, I turned my relative off. I'm like, I just gotta focus.
That's right.
and-
He sped on pit
yeah.
lane here.
Oh, that
Yeah,
sucks.
he ended up speeding on pit lane. So he ends up speeding on pit lane, missing his box by just a little bit. So he like doesn't actually start serving the penalty until like 5 seconds in, which is why it ends up being like a 50-second
That's a shame.
box time. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's how he ended up back with just ahead of you, Tom, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. My computer straight up just like locked up for a good, I don't know, 10, 20 seconds when I pulled into the pits. I have no idea what happened.
I guess it could be
Interesting.
worse places to do that. So I mean,
Yeah, I'm glad it wasn't through 130R, but like I was like, what do I like kill the gate? Like what do I do here? Fuck. Just as I was reaching for the power button to like, put the pillow over its face, smother it to death, kick back in.
nice.
Yeah.
I believe
didn't. So Tom, like, what happened with you and Luke? Like, cause I had gotten first when, like, did he just like hit you in the?
I got a little
hairpin?
bump. Yeah, I got a little bump
Okay.
on the butt, but I was slow through there anyways, and like I don't think I was keeping
Yeah.
you guys behind me for very long.
Yeah.
I got pretty
I-
overexcited at the start of that race, and I just cooked my tires completely.
I thought I wasn't gonna be able to get you, and then like, that's why I did want to battle Luke, but I also was like, okay, if him and I can just run in unison here, like we might be able to catch up with you, and that kind of paid off for me. but yeah, it was fun. I just like coming in no practice, like I was like I didn't realize there's gonna be a full, pretty much like pitch black night race, so that was fun.
Yeah, that messed with me a little bit too. I definitely missed a few break points. Got way more off tracks than I usually do. It's not. I looked at the results on iRacing. Not a lot of safety bonuses for anybody this week.
yeah, there was a pretty hefty off track count for this week.
Yeah, there's a few of us at the party chat at the end who were just like, okay, like let's have a chill last couple of laps. No more incidents. I don't want black flag.
Yeah. That was my whole mentality after I was like, okay, he's 50 seconds behind. I was like, I just gotta like lock in and focus, not get any off tracks. I wasn't close to getting a flag or anything, but like, yeah, I mean, it was like, it's nice being in the lead, don't get me wrong, but it's like, man, like me, who's always had, I've like, in my other league, I was in the lead and my microphone fell in my ignition button and I lost, or like I've had computer freezes, like with like 2 laps left. And like, so in my head, I know something's probably going to happen. And I'm like, I'm not going to win. I know it isn't going to happen. And so, yeah, I was just like, it was just like the most stressful, like, yeah, it's nice, but I was just waiting for something to happen. And that's why, like, when the white flag came out, I'm like, I can't fucking believe it. I mean, we got one more lap, but I can't fucking believe it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you ran a good race, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Heck yeah! All right, good stuff. I'm trying to think of. We're going to Watkins Glen and Barber next week. You all excited for that? I know I talked a little about it, Tom, but Tim Shaver, you're going to be there. Does that mean you're excited or you're not excited?
Well, let's see. It's on Tuesday. No, I'll be there. That week, I'm going to North Carolina for my 21st birthday.
Oh,
so I should be
fantastic.
able to make. Yeah.
Well-
So maybe I'll get a win at walk-ins and then celebrate it on my 21st.
Hey, that's the hope. And if not, you at least have, more stories to tell when you
Yeah.
get back for Interlagos. So
Yep.
I don't think I will see you before your birthday, so happy early birthday. Congrats on
Thank
being
you very
21. You get to do the thing
Yeah.
that you may have been doing illegally, now illegally. So have fun with that.
Yes. Yeah.
Only horror stories await you, and
Wonderful.
the best nights of your life, but mostly horror stories.
Yeah.
I don't want to dissuade you from the fun of it.
No, I'll be with my pretty much my whole family. So
Hell
it'll
yeah,
be,
that's good. That's
just
a good way to do it.
good. Just my siblings and I will all be. I have a twin brother. Him and I are the youngest. So
Oh, okay.
we'll finally be siblings getting all together. And yeah, I'm very very excited. I think
Good.
It's gonna be a good time.
That should be all right. Well, I will catch you all loose to do the thing, kill the stream. Congrats again on the win for in class, Tim Schaefer. Congrats again on the podium, Tom Leeson. We'll see you all. I'll see you all in 2 weeks' time for Interlagos, as I will also be out of town next week, but I'll be leaving earlier in the week, so I will not be here to broadcast. I gotta go do real job stuff.
Oh,
So
Well, thanks for your broadcast. It's always fun to watch.
heck yeah. Well, hopefully it's a
Love
good
the
one.
broadcasting. Keep it up.
Well, when I'm free, absolutely. So I will
Yeah.
catch y'all loose. See y'all soon. Congrats again. I'll catch y'all back to party. We'll kill this thing. Call it a day. Love you. Bye.
Thanks,
Cool,
son.
thank you.
Of course. And that's it for the stream. Thank y'all very much for watching. We kind of did a little bit of ad hoc stuff. So we will be back. I will be back in 2 weeks' time for Interlagos next week. My hope, my desire, my belief is that Marcus will continue on in my stead. But I can't guarantee it given the way that this past kind of month has gone. So we may or may not have a broadcast next week. But we'll be back for the season finale at Interlagos, theoretically in the rain, but I need to make sure that it actually is in the rain. So I need to go bug Marcus and say, hey, it's in the rain. Put it in the rain. I want rain at Interlagos. It's Brazil. There's always rain in Brazil. So we'll see you all very soon, in a couple weeks' time, if not sooner. And enjoy. Thank you all for watching. I've been Fettuccini. I hit the wrong buttons. I should hit some buttons that are the right buttons. Maybe I will. All right. I've been Fettuccini. You've been watching the Osborne Motors Endurance Challenge round, week number 6 of season 13. And we'll see you all very soon. Bye.